I would like to thank Matt Easton, Mr. Context himself, for talking about butts. Well, actually, he talked a lot more than just butts, as in archery butts. He talked about popijay. Here in Manitoba, we shoot pole archery, which in Belgium would be called Staande Wip. I'm butchering the pronunciation, trust me. I don't speak Flemish. I won't pretend to speak Flemish. But here in Manitoba, we shoot pole archery, which is in the Belgian tradition of Staande Wip, which means we shoot birds that are on a vertical fork 110 feet up. So this tradition is centuries old, give or take 14th century. Little dowel with feathers. We call them birds here. In Belgium, I think they call them feathers, for obvious reasons, because there's feathers on them. Now, the origins of this are tied to longbows and longbow shooting. Beyond that, it's kind of sketchy, right? When Matt was talking about popijay, which is a slightly different tradition, where it's usually a church that's used. In Scotland, the Killwining archers call it pop and go, and they shoot at the Killwining church. In Belgium, they tend to use poles or masts, which would very much tie into Mike Lode's Warbow book, where he just talks about it being in reference to shipboard archers, and they're practicing their skills as archers using the mast and a bird or a target on there. Now, we use blunts. We do not use points. We use blunts. It is not a common sport anymore. Never really was that common of a sport. And it has a lot more in common than with birds in a tower, as in pigeons or whatever, in a church tower, than it does with the Persians or the Greeks or the Ottomans or the Romans or anybody. It's a game. It's a sport that was created to entertain ourselves as archers. Now, here in Manitoba, there's 60 maybe archers. Now, as far as we're aware, we're the last ones in North America who shoot vertically. Now, the majority of archers do not shoot longbows anymore. Actually, I don't even think anybody in our club uses a longbow. I have on occasion. It used to be more common. This is the closest I have to a D-shaped U bow, which of course I don't. Someday maybe I'll own one. I do shoot with a traditional bow. Majority of the shooters use compound bows now here. In Belgium, it's a mix, right? Some shoot compounds. Some clubs are strictly traditional. There's one club where they strictly shoot would be the English style longbow, not the war bows, but the English style war bow, which has more in common with Jane Austen's Emma and the Regency era bows than they do with the English war bows. They're very, very similar, but they are ever so slightly different, so that they are actually English longbows. And the target, for example, the modern archery target that Matt was talking about, that has more in common with the Regency era, which is roughly where it comes from, where the multicolored target comes from. So I really want to thank him for bringing attention to popijay, or in my case, pole archery. And I want to give him a thank you and a response, and whatever you want to call it. If you're interested, there's going to be links below to the Killwining archers. There'll be a link below to my playlist where I show shooting the Canadian version of what we call pole archery here in Manitoba. It's a very obscure sport. and it's a heck of a lot of fun. Keep having fun, guys.